Hi everybody. So my client's back, as you can see, and she's wearing these lovely holiday nails, and they are just so pretty. But yeah, now unfortunately it's time to remove the nail charms, which is always just a horrible job to do. But yeah, it's always fun putting them on, but taking it off, oh my God. So I was getting some of it off, but it really hurt my own hands to try and take it off with the pliers, and it just would not budge at all. So I tried this little gift for a little bit, but yeah, it really did not work. And I was trying to get those little rhinestones off too, but yeah, I did my job pretty well, you can say. So just had to go and take out my electric file, just file along the edges. That way my pliers has something to get under. I don't have to take away a lot, but just, so my pliers can get underneath or just a little bit. Same thing with this one. Well, basically same thing for every nail charm on this nail set. And yeah, I could have guessed that I would have to use my electric file, but sometimes I'm just a little bit lazy, I guess. So then I just want to try it with the pliers straight away, and sometimes it'll work out. But yeah, no, these charms were pretty big. It's an expensive nail set, so I really do not want my client to lose any of her nail charms. Yeah, so I'll always really secure them very well. And even those small rhinestones, they can be like really, really hard to get off. Well, that one went pretty easy. And the little bow, this one was probably my favorite nail, along with Rudolph on her pinky. Absolutely love that. Yeah, such a pretty nail charm. Yeah, obviously, same thing for the other hand. I've already, got around with the electric file, taking away all those beads. You really don't want to go over it with your drill bit because those rhinestones are glass and it will definitely hurt your drill bit. So yeah, probably you can just throw it away after removing something like that. So I always want to use the pliers. And I have to be really careful and not like get underneath it and then twist the pliers, because then it will just cause lifting underneath the product, because you will also, just yeah, you will apply so much force that the product underneath will start to break and lift from the natural nail. So yeah, just be careful, and it might seem like I'm using a lot of force, but I'm trying to hold the nail very still with my other hand, and usually I end up hurting myself trying to protect the client. And but yeah, that's better than hurting my client, I guess. you know at least for myself, I could feel what I'm doing. I really don't know what the client's feeling, obviously, so always try my best to protect them at all costs. Yeah, if I were to slip with the clippers, then yeah, you could really break their skin. Yeah, that would really hurt. And this charm was a little bit difficult too, because I've also filled in the middle part of the charm. Of course, they're protected, and yeah, but yeah, then it's sealed in from the inside and the outside. So, but all in all, they came off pretty good, and I did not damage the nails. So, yeah, only hurt myself a little bit, just a little bit. No, nothing major. I didn't break my skin, at least not this time. So, yeah, as always, it's time to remove the gel polish layer. And yeah, not much work today with removal and infill, because we are going to keep the base color She really likes that color and she wants to keep that color as her base, so she doesn't want a gel polish or anything on top of this. And also I'm looking for any lifting, but she hardly ever has any lifting, you know, maybe sometimes just a little bit along the cuticle area, just a tiny bit, but usually she's just good and everything is still on perfectly. So now I'm going to do the basic shaping because I am going to do a little bit of an adjustment because her nails always tend to grow down. So if I'm doing this first, then I can just file underneath the lower arches like I am doing now. And then later on, it's easier for me to see where I need to file underneath. And, you know, I don't have to do a lot of work. I just have to do a little bit of an infill, so it's not like there's going to be any extra product on top of the free edge. So I'm not going to be doing this work twice, if you know what I'm saying. So now I'm already going to file underneath. That way I'm just done with all that dust underneath and everything. And I'm probably going to top coat this part first before doing anything else. Yeah, so I'm just filing in back in that C curve and making sure that it's all nice and smooth, making sure that where the product begins and the natural nail ends, that has a smooth transition as always. Yeah, and I do have to be careful for her hyponychium, of course. I really do not want to damage that part, and it will hurt a lot and it will bleed a lot. So just be careful with doing this. So if I just keep doing this for about like 4 infills, she can just keep her nails. After that is done and she needs a new set, if I weren't to do this, her nails would start to grow down like from the start, and it would probably, after the second infill, it would just look horrible. At least in our opinion, we do not like yeah, what's the word, like with those big arched nails. We just want straight nails. All right, now I'm going in with this lovely shimmery top coat, and I am being very careful not to touch her skin. I know it's hard for you to see. It looks like I'm touching the skin, but I'm not. I'm keeping away from the skin. It's just I'm only applying it to the product. You know, just never ever touch the skin with these products. You know, mistakes happen, but you shouldn't do it consciously, you know what I'm saying? And right now I'm going in to remove her cuticle tissue, and usually this is the client where I remove the cuticle tissue manually, but I don't know, I wasn't thinking about it and I just grabbed my e-file and removed it with the e-file. Yeah, but it's no biggie. It's fine. This is one of my clients who does really well with removing the cuticle tissue manually. But yeah, it's no biggie. I don't damage the nail plate when removing the cuticle tissue with my e-file. I'm applying hardly any pressure and just flaking off that cuticle tissue, and that's it. So I've already applied the rubber base clear and gave it a full cure. And I'm going in with my acrylic gel cover pink, just a tiny bit amount. I'm just going to fill that in. And I know that some people are like, oh, she doesn't use any alcohol or anything. No, I don't, because I like to minimize the risk of allergic reactions. So I've been working without alcohol from the start with this product. You know, all our products contain monomers, acrylates, and if you're using alcohol to create a nail like this and you accidentally brush over the skin, or you use too much alcohol and the alcohol seeps into the lateral side walls or your proximal nail fold. Those monomers and acrylates will also get pulled onto the skin and into the skin, and there they will, eventually create an allergic reaction. And I really don't want that. I don't want that for myself. I don't want that for my client. And the product is good as it is. You don't need alcohol to improve the product. It's already good. So I just, thought of another way to apply this product without the extra risk of an allergic reaction. So that's why I always work dry with this product. Creating nails should be done professionally, and you really should know what you're doing, how the products work, the ingredients in the product, and minimize risk, because allergies are really, really painful, and they will last a lifetime. They will not go away. So you really should prevent that at all costs. So when I'm doing nails, I'm always thinking about minimizing those risks. What do I need to do? If I need to cure twice, I will cure twice. If I need to cure upside down, I will cure upside down. If I need to learn something new to work safer, work better, I will. I want to do this for a very long time, and I want my clients to enjoy their nails for a very long time. So yeah, if you want that and you want to build like a good business, just be mindful of what you're doing and look into it. There's a lot of information out there, even for free. But yeah, you still have to do the work. Read, learn, and yeah, listen to the people who know what they're talking about, like a Doug Schoon or Jim McConnell. Those are the chemists from very reputable brands, and they really do know what they're talking about, and they have a lot of free information on the internet. And Nail Knowledge is also a website where you can look at free information and just look up whatever you want. You can even do courses. And get certificates and whatever. So, and it's not that pricey. I did multiple courses and I've got multiple certificates in this field, and I just keep myself updated every year as I go along. And as you can see, I've already started my one stroke. I'm going to create some roses. I've chosen for white and pink. Well, no, I haven't chosen. My client chose these colors. So I'm just starting the outline, and I'm constantly loading my brush in between. This is acrylic paint, but I've already showed you that. And then I'm starting the inner leaves. And I do have to say that it took me quite some time to get this technique under control. I've practiced until my hands practically fell off. Yeah, I thought it was a really hard technique to get a hold of and know where to go with each layer. And when I'm not happy, I'll remove it and just start from scratch. That's the only downside with the acrylic paint. If you make a mistake, you're done. You need to just start over. But of course, you could use a highly pigmented gel, but I really like the matte look it gives underneath the top coat. Gel will also start, no, I need to rephrase that. If you work with a gel one stroke, I find that once you put over the top coat, the gel will also start to shine like the nail itself, and it kind of makes the texture disappear from the from your painting, I guess. And if you're using acrylic paints, then it will still look kind of matte underneath the top coat, and it still looks like it's got its structure. I don't know how to explain it better than that, but at least to me, that's how I feel about it, you know. And for everybody, that's different. Of course, there's no right and wrong. I know some great artists who make like the most beautiful one-stroke flowers with gels. Absolutely love it. But for me, I just can't seem to get it to work the way that I would like to see the finished result to be. So, you know, I'm just sticking with my acrylic paints and it works wonderful for me. I have absolutely no issues with this coming off or not lasting or anything or discoloring, nothing. So I'm just keeping it this way. And as always, she just lets me do whatever I want. So yeah, basically I really don't always have a plan what I'm doing. I will just start with a flower or whatever at a point, and then I will just, let my feelings guide me where I feel the next leaf will need to go, or where I feel the next uh, glitter needs to go, or nail charm, or whatever. And it usually works out fine. And if it doesn't, then I will just take it off and start over, because I refuse to let my clients go with something that I don't like. And of course, if they don't like it, I will fix it, but I never really have that issue. The biggest issue is that sometimes I don't like what I've made, and they are looking at it like, oh, it's nice, and then I will just take it off. And they're like, what are you doing? Well, I just didn't like it. And then they're looking at me like I'm crazy, but it's my name that's on that set of nails, so I just really want it to be good. So with one stroke with the acrylic paints, you constantly have to keep loading your brush, and your paint has to be a little bit wet. Not too wet, because if it's too wet, it's not going to be pigmented. It's going to be more like a watercolor, and that would not look good at all. So, but if you're using paint that's too dry, it will not be, how should I explain it? If it's too dry, you're not going to get a seamless one stroke petal. Then it would look disrupted, and some spots will probably have no paint on it, and yeah, that would look horrible. So it needs to be a little bit wet, but just a little bit. So usually I just take a little bit of water and then dab a little bit off on my table towel, and then grab some new paint and load my brush again. And also, I personally do not like to go over my painting twice. It for me, it takes away the character that you've given a petal. It For me, it also makes the lines too harsh. I do not like it. I just want it to be like, wanted to give this soft romantic feel to my flowers. And usually I don't even like to trace the outlines of my flowers, because I usually also find that it makes the lines too harsh. Sometimes I will outline just a little bit, but not the entire petal, just a few parts of it. Yeah, you know, and there's no right and wrong, of course, in these things. If this is just how you see it, how you feel it, there's really no right and wrong. This is just art, just art, and art is never wrong. I guess. Well, maybe in some cases, but yeah. Oh, I wouldn't know what those cases would be. Well, I kind of know, but that's a different subject. But yeah, painting flowers and whatever, it's all in the eye of the beholder, right? No right or wrong. So I'm working back and forth on these different nails because I do need the first layer to be dry before applying the second layer. You could take the risk of going over it when it's still wet, but the risk that you'll smudge it is very real, so I definitely would not recommend that. Just wait, and it's acrylic paint. It's dry in a jiffy, so yeah, just draw another petal on another nail and it's dry and you can just go over it. Just don't risk it. It would be such a shame that you will have to take everything off and start from scratch again. And also, when I'm loading my brush, I try not to take up too much paint. I'm just loading the brush, which means getting the paint in between all of the bristles of your brush, but not with a lot of excess paint, because it would look, well, it just wouldn't look nice on top of the nail. Your painting will not get better if you use too much paint, and it will also not look very nice underneath the top coat. And here I'm just making the rosebuds. Trying to get her hand the way I wanted. Just like that, and it's starting to look good. And now I'm going to make the inside of this rose. Well, just a little bit, of course, because yeah, it's just half a flower. And next, I'm probably going to ruin the index finger, if I remember correctly. So yeah, oh, I'm going to ruin it just a little bit later. Sometimes I just don't know when to stop. Sometimes I just want to, I've got this picture in my mind and I just can't execute the picture the way I've got it inside my head. And then I will just keep going, keep going, keep going until it's ruined. And that's what is happening right now. It was just too much. There we go. This is the point when it gets ruined. I don't know, it's just a little bit, but it was enough and I really did not like it. And probably I could have just masked it underneath the leaves that I'm going to be creating. But I did not think of that at that time, of course, so I just had to remove all of it. Well, not all of it, just this finger. I've only destroyed this one, and the pinky was still okay, and the rest, so yeah. And here you see me going in with a little bit of a mix of alcohol and acetone. And it's not coming off completely, but that's fine because I'm going to paint over it anyway, and there's going to be some glitter, so you're not gonna see that anyway, so that's fine. But yeah, it was just a quick fix, no biggie, because I only have to create a couple of rosebuds, and that was it. I believe just 3. That's just a quick drawing. Doing a rose over, well, that's not a lot of work either, but you have to wait in between for everything to dry. And the rosebuds are just so small that it's fine. You can go over it like pretty much straight away. So yeah, just a quick fix. And even after all these years, one stroke is probably still one of my favorite types of nail art. I just love those romantic nails. Just absolutely love it. I do. Yeah, I'm not ashamed to say it. But of course, there always have to be just a little bit of a glitter, maybe in the form of a rhinestone, but it does need a little bit of glitter, in my opinion. Just very subtle turn of the hand, as you can see. No, that's fine. Um, it's a very, very nice client, and we always have such a great time together, laugh a lot, and make jokes and fun and whatever. So, yeah, it's fine. And of course, same thing for the other hand. I've already started this rose. And now I can go on and add some glitters over here. And I was still kind of debating with what to do with the index finger and the pinky. Like if I wanted to add any leaves or anything. But yeah, at least I could go ahead with these nails where I was sure what I was wanting to do. So I've applied my rubber base clear, and I've got this lovely glitter that she picked out. Just grabbing a little bit of rubber base onto my brush and then carefully picking up some glitters. And I don't want to fully cover the nail with the glitters. I just want to have it a little bit here, a little bit there, just a different spots on the nail. That will give it a little bit more of a playful look. And I am being a little bit picky about where I want each glitter to go. Yeah, because I do want it to be, basically exactly where I want them to be. And also for this nail, and I've already, and I can already do the thumbs too, because it is basically going to be the same as I'm doing right here. And these are just lovely, like they have this purplish, bluish shimmer with a little bit of golden, I guess. Just very, very pretty glitters. And I really like how they look next to the pink flowers. So right now I am going to go in and create those leaves. Loading my brush again. So just keep going back and forth to load the brush. And then I'm just going to carefully paint those green leaves just around those rosebuds. I'm not going to draw any stems or whatever because you're not going to be able to see it anyway. So don't need to bother with that. Just a little bit of those leaves. Just very pretty. And I work with the acrylic paints from Amsterdam. I really, really like how they work. Not too dry, not too wet. And the coverage is really, really well. Yeah, really good. So really, really like how they work. And I did try some acrylic paints from some nail shops and whatever. But I don't know, they just don't, they're just not opaque enough or whatever. Maybe I didn't test the right brands, but I did test a few of them and they really did not work, and they were too wet, and I really don't like that too, especially not with the one stroke technique. So yeah, I've been working for years with the Amsterdam brand, and for me that works best. And please don't ask me where I got my one stroke brush. I've ordered like a ton of brushes before I finally found one that worked and wasn't too big, because most of those one stroke brushes are just too big. They're just too wide, and I really want a small brush to create small petals and not those gigantic petals. I know, so that was really a big search, and I really cannot remember where I got this one. But it's a nice brush. It works. And usually those brushes with me don't last very, very long. You know, maybe a couple of years, and then I will have to do another search again. Yeah, it's always such a hassle, but yeah, it's fine. And I also know I keep forgetting to show you guys what I'm using when I'm using it, like when I'm using the rubber base or the acrylic gel or whatever. I use everything from the beauty products line, Care for Nails. It's a Dutch brand, and yeah, I just use everything from that brand. I just like to keep as much as I can with one brand, you know, that's safest. I really do not like to mix a lot. Yeah, so basically everything I've got is from that brand. And also when I'm taping these videos, these are actual clients. So I'm just making sure that I'm trying to work good but fast. I don't have time to do a lot of in between things because the next client is waiting. But yeah, that's why. Yeah. And it's already starting to look really good. Next, some glitter in the center. I thought that would look really, really nice. That way, I don't have to create any stems, which would look weird in this design, I guess. So, most of the glitter inside of this nail and just a little bit on the outside, but most of it inside those flowers. Yeah, so pretty. Absolutely love these designs. And this client is also in nail tech, and she's also a little bit old school like I am. So she also loves the one stroke, you know. Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's an age thing. And the last nail with the last of the glitters. Then it's time to do some top coating. And also, you do not have to put a base over your one stroke design. You really don't. But you know, because I had to apply the nail glitters, I did apply rubber base. But it's not going to make the design last longer. Yeah, you know, if the paint's on, it's on, and it's stuck really well. Which I like because I hate bulky nails, and adding a layer will just add up the bulk, and just allergic to it. So finally, some top coating time. This is my top gel no cleanse, so it has no inhibition layer, uh, which I really like because I hate top coats with a sticky layer. But top coats with sticky layers are more flexible than top coats without a sticky layer, so better suitable for just a regular gel polish treatment. And look at these beauties, don't they look gorgeous? Well, to me, they do, at least. I'm really happy with how they look. So, I really hope you've liked this video, and I thank you all so much for watching. And I wish you all a very good day. Bye.